They say that charity begins at home. And what that means is that before you take care of anybody or anything else, you first gotta take care of the problems affecting your own home. But if that is true, then why is Uncle Sam and the Kamala administration focused on the immigrants and less on their citizens? Well, people are taking to social media now to air their concerns about this in line with the upcoming elections. Because if we don't do anything about it now, what is gonna happen afterwards if Kamala takes over? Like, what is the situation gonna be like 4 years from now? And why is it so important to place so much concern on them, provide them with food, shelter, and jobs if the citizens have none? Let's look at that in today's video. And you can also leave your own thoughts in the comment section and tell us what you think about today's discussion. Let us get started now. I'll see you on the flip side.
You see, how about taking care of the people that's born here in America first? You don't know if they're felons, if they're drug addicts or what. You just let them come across the border. So what's really the agenda? What's really going on? Who are we fooling? Why don't you take care of the veterans that went in overseas and fought in the war and came back here homeless? Why don't we take care of them first? The first lesson starts in the home, not outside the borders. And then you got the nerve for them to be ungrateful, talking about, oh, they want 10 million, they want that. No, you need to go back home. When I go through stuff, I don't get to pack up and run away and live in the park. I have to take care of my own affairs. Look about all of the vets that's in shelters. Why don't we get them housed first? What are we doing for them? Like Michael Jackson said, what have you done for us lately? So who's really benefiting? At the end of the day, take care of home first. Every family that's working, the husband is taking care of their family first. Then he goes out and does what he has to do. When is America going to get the agenda? Because see, America has a hidden agenda. At the end of the day, they don't care about none of us.
I need this message to go out to our vice president who's running for president. I have heard all over social media about, excuse me if I say anything wrong, immigrants getting loans, money. It was hard for me to believe. It was just extremely hard for me to believe. I've been in business such a long time. Back in 2019, I purchased my first food truck. It cost me over $25,000. I paid it cash money. I worked hard to pay for this truck. I'm now selling it because I'm doing other things, but I'm selling it. I had a guy come to look at purchasing my vehicle, or my food truck, and he explained to me he's an illegal immigrant. He has no credit. He has no money in the bank. But he showed me his paperwork that he will receive funds to purchase my food truck. I'm thankful that he's buying it, but I'm hurt that I worked so hard to pay cash for my food truck. I have good credit, can't even get a business loan because of the color of my skin. I have veterans in my family. I'm a veteran. I've been self-employed for so long. But somebody, please tell me, how do I work so hard to have somebody who comes to this country, not long, no credit, and he shows me paperwork where they'll be funding him money to buy my food truck. And when I talked to the bank, they told me usually they have to go straight to a dealership because I'm a private sale. But for special circumstances, they're going to, they allow it. But I need my president to tell me why I worked so hard all these years, all these decades. Couldn't get a business loan, but I bust my ass to get the money to create my business. And we got immigrants coming here. And they're getting money. Money! We're doing nothing but just being here. It's not right, and I want answers.
Oregon is offering $30,000 to new home buyers, but the catch is you cannot be a U.S. citizen.
Funded group is offering $30,000 to new home buyers. Lauren, you cannot apply if you're an American citizen. What's with that?
Why would an American citizen apply for a taxpayer-funded program to get $30,000 for a new home? I mean, it's wild. The group is called Hacienda Community Development Corporation. They offer payment assistance in Oregon to DACA recipients, asylees, green card holders, basically any non-U.S. citizen.
So what you're telling me is we got illegal immigrants coming into the country. They're receiving better benefits than Americans that need it, than Americans that are struggling, than homeless Americans. They're getting more benefits than some of the veterans that fought for this country. And on top of that, the state of Oregon said, if you're an illegal immigrant and you want to buy a home, we'll give you $30,000 down. No American can apply. So ask yourself this question. If the Democrats win, what's going to happen in 4 years? What that landscape going to look like in 4 years? That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying nothing else about it. That's all.
So I'm not one to talk politics, never have been. I try to stay out of those conversations. I've always respected what everyone feels and thinks. I still do. But I don't think a lot of you understand what's happening in our country right now, mainly because most of you don't live in a sanctioned city. I live in Denver. So the people that are living in these sanctioned cities, we are slowly losing control of our city, our cities. And the government's not doing anything. Governor Polis in Colorado, he is not doing anything about the apartment complex that has been taken over by Venezuelan gang members that have come over illegally. They have robbed 10 gun shops in Denver in the past month. They are strapping up, and this is just the first step. They're seeing what they can get away with, and so far they've been in this apartment complex for almost a month. The police can't do anything about it. We haven't brought in reinforcements, and they're just living in this apartment complex they overtook, and no one's doing anything. What do you think they're going to do next? They're going to start overtaking more apartment complexes, more buildings, more facilities. What did our country think was going to happen when their time was up in the hotels we provided to them? I had a feeling they were going to start overtaking things, and that's what's starting to happen. It takes a lot to scare me. I've been to third world countries, never really been freaked out or nervous. Never thought that I would have to buy a gun to feel safe. And even when I get my gun a couple days, I don't even know if I'll still feel safe, but at least I'll have a weapon. I've never been against guns, but I've also never thought that I'm going to need to buy a gun for safety. But here we are. Here we are. And if you don't live in a sanctioned city, I really, really encourage you to do some research and see what's happening to our country. I understand if you're a Democrat and you have your reasons, right? Abortion, you're pro-abortion and same marriage. I'm fine with that. I understand we all have our own opinions and our beliefs, and that's important to a lot of you. But I hope you understand that although those are important topics when it comes to voting, if Trump or someone else is not in office other than Kamala, whatever her name is, that stuff's not going to matter, because we will not have a country like we have now or have had. So it's not going to matter if abortion is legal or not. It's not going to matter if same-sex marriage is legal or not, because we're not going to have America anymore. It's not going to be the land of the free. It's not going to be what we have known our whole lives. We're living in a very scary time right now, and a lot of you just don't realize it, mainly because you're not in a sanctioned city, which is great. I'm honestly happy that you guys are not living in a sanctioned city. But for those of us that are, you really just need to pay attention to what's happening, because soon we're going to leave the sanctioned cities, and some of them already have and have gone to different states, cities. So if you think it's only going to happen in these sanctioned cities, you're very wrong. It's eventually going to spread, but this is where it's starting, and they are slowly taking over Denver. It's happening right before our eyes.
It is no secret that most citizens of most countries around the world, not just the land of the free, are aware that any immigrant or foreigner who comes into their country usually prospers on the basis of the citizens. And what I'm trying to say is that most of the times foreigners and immigrants have significant advantages in a foreign land compared to their own places, because most of them would come to a foreign land in search of business or job opportunities. And it's so surprising that they will find it, they'll thrive, and they'll become successful in that new land. Perhaps surprising is not the correct term, but let me just say that the new land seems to be more lenient on them compared to that land's citizens. While the citizens, they seem to be struggling. We have this problem all over across Africa, and it's so evident in South Africa. I'm pretty sure you've heard of the X-phobias that have been taking place in the past, right? So that is exactly what has been happening. But it's so sad now that everybody is aware in the political ecosystem that this is happening in the land of the free, and it has been happening for a very long time. I guess that's one thing why the Trump supporters really do praise him much about, because he seemed to be concerned about that and was aware about that issue affecting the citizens. You know, to some degree, some people want to vote for the Trump train because of his realism, because he kind of like approaches this situation with a realistic approach. Yes, even though he's orthodoxist and all, but at least even his supporters understand that they also are orthodoxist, and the one they want to vote for is orthodoxist. While on the flip side, the other side, where there's Uncle Sam and Kamala, things are not that clear. Right? And this is the issue that most citizens have. Like, where are they standing? Like, what is Kamala's position on the Is-Not Real situation with Gaza? Is she advocating for a ceasefire? And I know that she's spoken about this, but how often are you seeing that? And when it comes to the immigrant situation, like, why is there so much need on the immigrants to thrive and to survive, while the citizens are not? There comes in an aspect of leverage. Let me just say this. In my country, there are some foreigners that are allowed in our country, even though the government is aware of it. Here in Africa, right? I'm not going to point there, but I want you to get this example. The rumor is that our government is aware of those people coming into our land, and whenever they come into our country, they're given some sort of fake IDs, if you may put it. They're given some sort of registration card, even though they haven't even quite done anything. They haven't been born in our country, right? Now, the reason that happens is because the theory suggests that they want these people to be there and to stand in on the gap of the voters or the supporters that our current president might lose while still in office. You know how elections are. You know how campaigns are. You usually do things when you're in office that people wouldn't like, and other citizens would want to vote for another candidate, right? So it's a sort of strategy to leverage, right? To keep some sort of reservoir of voters, so that in case you might lose the election, there's some people that are just automatically gonna be for you. So imagine if you know that you've done some things while in office that people are not gonna like you for, and you bring in like 25,000 immigrants that are gonna be voting for you automatically. Their IDs are gonna rally behind you. Then you might be on the safe side. Somehow, our political leader is also being accused of doing the same thing. But you know how it always is. Some people are saying that these are just rumors and it's not true. Well, the same thing can be said about what is happening in this phenomenon that we're seeing. I've heard a lot of podcasters, I've heard a lot of people talk about this, and that seems to be the speculation as well. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. That is the second aspect. The first one is leverage. The second one is the scratching your back aspect, where if I give you a country to stay in and I make the economy economically conducive enough for you to run your business successfully, and you can even start your own life in here, after 4 years or 5 years, you gotta scratch my back in return. That's exactly how our foreigners here in Africa survive. That's exactly what most entrepreneurs in the land of the free are saying about what we're seeing in line with the situation. But why are most citizens complaining about it though? How is this affecting citizens directly? Let's look at that. So some Americans believe that immigrants are taking up jobs away from native-born citizens or strain public resources like healthcare and education because they are getting these things at a cheaper cost. So the other aspect is the fact that there are fears that immigrants might increase crime rates or bring drugs into the country. For example, a significant number of Americans believe that immigrants are responsible for an uptick in drug overdoses due to fentanyl smuggling. The other crucial points are that political leaders and media outlets often amplify these concerns, sometimes spreading misinformation. For instance, many Americans believe in the idea of an invasion at the southern border, which is not supported by facts. So media disinformation is also playing a significant role. The last aspect of this is that some people are worried about the cultural impact of immigration, fearing that it might change the social fabric of their communities. And with that being said, these are the points that I bring you in today's discussion. Now, you may also share your contributions in the comment section and tell me what you think is going on here. Because I know that the truth is somewhere along these lines that we've discussed. Like, it can't be far away from that. Like, what can the truth look like? Because to be honest with you, one thing I hate about political leaders is their agenda. Like, you never know the reason why they're running for office in the first place. Like, take for example the Trump train. Do you know that he's always been fantasizing about running for president one day? You know, becoming a president and all that. So you may never know. It might just be a fantasy of theirs and they don't really care about the citizens' struggles and all. But all in all, don't be too concerned or too worried. This is just a perspective. Signing off for now. Take care and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe.